Crypto Cash. This is video number 3, where we are going to talk all about wallets. So there's a lot to cover, so let's get started. The first thing I want to cover is hardware wallets, as you can see. So the first wallet I want to cover in the hardware wallets is the Ledger wallet, and their first and flagship product, I should say, the Nano S. It's as you can see, it's a cryptocurrency wallet. It's not just a Bitcoin wallet. You can store lots of different coins on here. They're also releasing a larger version called the Ledger Blue. It's coming up soon, and it has a full display, whereas this Ledger Nano has a smaller display in the form factor of a USB key. You can see in this picture here in someone's hands. It's a small, relatively small device. It connects via USB to your computer. It's not an actual USB key. It has a cable that connects into it, but it has the same form factor as a USB key. It's something you could throw on your keychain or stuff like that. What it does is it allows you to safely and securely store and use your cryptocurrency. A lot of times, even on a compromised computer. Don't do this on a knowingly compromised computer, please. I mean, why would you do that? However, safeguards are in place on these devices such that even if your computer is compromised and you didn't know it, there's a lot of safeguards in place where they still won't be able to steal your cryptocurrency. Of course, that being said, you need to follow the protocol. You need to do the right things. Otherwise, you can be the weak link in this whole scheme here, in this whole blockchain of events, if you will. I'm sorry with the punny jokes. But what's great about the Ledger is that it's not only is it a reputable company, but it's also got a great knowledge base here where it'll help you through troubleshooting, recovering lost private keys, etc., as well as how to get started with lots of different coins that are available, lots of different cryptocurrencies that you could buy and use on this device, as well as it's got a great this is the Ledger, or rather the Treasure, which I'm about to get into. The Ledger also offers a great desktop piece of software that you could use to integrate your Ledger wallet and spend and use your funds, as well as to facilitate setting up your Ledger device the first time. So it's a great service. I'm going to leave links below on how to get here, and don't just go on like eBay or on Amazon or something like that and buy these, because they could be counterfeit devices. They could be fake, where they generate an address that they give to every person gets that address, and when you fund it with coins, you're just funding the attacker's address. Make sure to get it from the addresses I leave below, which will be the accepted, correct addresses to the actual hardware vendors themselves. So check the address, the links below. This here is the Treasure. It's another hardware wallet. It's very similar in that it can hold many different types of keys, ERC20 tokens, so any Ethereum-based tokens, as well as others. You can see here Bitcoin, Litecoin, Zcash, Dash, a lot of the big ones. It's very secure, just like the Ledger Nano S, and it also offers a, as you can see here, wallet software. This is kind of interesting. It's a desktop-based software. It's not a web platform. As you can see here, is something you'll have to download for your platform. Okay. One thing that I like about the Treasure wallet, not just the Treasure wallet, but the hardware wallet, is the links that the team has gone through to show you all of the ways that one person who is intelligent enough to be able to attack this on a hardware level, how they showed you how they've gone through and been thwarted, or at least made it infeasible for them to attack on all of these different ways. So, and it also shows you which ways that are vulnerable. In a lot of cases, the person that's, or I say person, the thing or thing about hardware wallets that's the most vulnerable is the person who's using it. So maybe you expose your keys somewhere that you shouldn't have, or you didn't follow the protocols. The weakest link is oftentimes a person. In either case, hardware wallets are the absolute easiest and safest ways to store and use your cryptocurrency. So getting back to the next wallets is the Brain Wallet, as you see here. Brain wallets are, again, very secure. It's as secure as you are. If you can keep a secret, including a secret that happens to be how you can spend your money, then your hardware or your Brain Wallet is secure. It's also as secure as your memory. If you forget your Brain Wallet, you just more or less threw away your tokens or your coins or your currency. There is no bank or central service here. There is no person you can call and say, hey, can you help me? If you lost your private key or your Brain Wallet or your paper wallet or your hardware wallet, there are safeguards for the hardware wallet, which includes having paper wallets. But in either case, if you lose, that final bit of safeguard, there is no coming back from that. Unfortunately, because of the security that is inherent in cryptocurrencies, finding a lost key is as hard as it is to steal someone else's. So, of course, it's going to be infeasibly hard to recover a key that you've lost, as it should be. Because, again, if it was easy to recover your key, then it would be easy to steal someone else's. It's the very same thing. So, more about Brain Wallets in a moment. We're going to get right on into paper wallets. So let's pop on over to here, and you'll see probably one of the most popular addresses that will be recommended for generating paper wallets, and that'll be this here, bitaddress.org. Okay, so you'll see here that it's saying generating Bitcoin address, and it's got a little thing here, move your mouse. So you'll see as soon as I move my mouse onto the screen, we're going to start generating random numbers, and these random numbers are going to fill until here gets to 100%, you see. And so we're just going to generate entropy or randomness, and eventually we'll get to 100%, and we'll have generated a public and private key. Okay, and so of course I'm doing this on a network attached computer. I'm going to go over in just a moment how to do this the right way, but the general idea is that you would create a certain amount of randomness, and then you get your keys. Now, what's great about this address or this website is that it also not just allows you to make single wallets, but allows you to make something that's printable that you can give out to people and looks kind of almost professional if you printed it on nice paper. It gives you the ability to create bulk wallets. So maybe we want to generate 20 addresses. Okay, so here you go. There's 20 addresses, public and private keys, and you can even get them in a printable format. Again, now going to that previous step here, the Brain Wallets. This allows you to enter a phrase, zip do dee do da, zip do dee. Okay, and I'll just show it. Maybe I misspelled it wrong. Okay, so here's the private and public key that this phrase right here actually generates. And if I were to do this again, so let's just say we'll do a random one. But remember that one started with 1p something or other. Let's put this phrase back in here and let's generate it. You'll see, or 19p. So you'll see that it generates the very same address again. And so the idea behind a Brain Wallet is you remember a phrase and you could always generate the actual public and private key in the future sometime, and that's a totally viable way of storing cryptocurrencies. This here is bit address. This actually is generating addresses only for Bitcoin. Be careful when you're doing paper wallets for other coins. If you have questions, please leave them in comments below. But it's very easy for someone who's a computer scientist like myself, or someone who understands how programming works, to generate a malicious website that looks I'm not saying that looks like this, but that offers the same service, which only gives out maybe a handful of keys that are already predefined. If that's the case, then an attacker could essentially, unknowing and trusting people can get scammed by by this very easily. And so how do I know that this isn't one of those? Well, for starters, they offer the GitHub repository here, and this is also recommended by many users. But you can go through yourself, and you could read the code on how the address is generated itself. And the idea behind this is actually twofold, and I'm going to show you. So not only can you go through and read the JavaScript that it takes to generate these code, and you know, don't just trust me, but I have gone through every single line of code on this, and there are no AJAX requests, and there are no gets or posts that are going on. In other words, in layman terms, there are no there's no data ever, there's no code in this that ever has data being sent out. So you can be sure that there is absolutely no data being taken from this website. However, that doesn't mean that you use it on a network connected computer. What that means is instead that you can trust that the code isn't trying to steal your information. However, that doesn't mean that it doesn't just give out predefined addresses. For that, you'll have to go through the code, and I'll do a later video that we will go and step through some of the code ourselves, but you'll have to trust this and many other people who use this as a service for all of their cold storage. So what you'll do here is you'll go to the GitHub repository, or just use this, which you can see in the bottom left also uses the GitHub repository. But what you'll do is you'll click the GitHub repository, and you'll click clone or download. Okay, download zip. And we're just going to open this file. And here it is in the background. Okay, so I've downloaded the bit address, and here it is. I'll show you the address here. This is what you'll see. What you want to click on is this bitaddress.org HTML. And when I open this up, I'm going to show you what happens. You'll see here that we're not on an actual website, we're offline. Okay? And now I'm on a network connected computer, meaning my computer could be vulnerable. It could have a spyware, keylogger, virus, whatever, and it could be sending back screenshots or just data of what I'm doing on my computer. So the whole idea here is you would download this website and you would bring it to an entirely offline computer, or you would disconnect your computer and boot into like a Linux distribution that's meant to run only in the memory, and then you would run this from there. And in that case, you know that first off, no malicious software can be connecting and calling home, as well as you know that this isn't generating the same address over and over. And you could test it a million times. You could see that this randomness here gives you different addresses every time, and you could see that. So just a great service here. And now I got to the Brain Wallet but didn't get here. So a vanity wallet is again, you're doing this on something that's a computer that's offline. Leave comments in the description and below rather if you'd like me to go through the entire steps. I'll show you step by step how to download a Linux distribution that runs in memory, how to put that onto a USB drive, how to run your system in live mode, the entire steps on how to do that. If you'd like a video, I'll do it for you guys. Anyways, a vanity wallet, all this allows you to do is to create addresses where they have maybe Ninja in the address. It's just a vanity address. So for me, I might want to do one this has cryptic hash in there. That may be something I do. And so this is how you would do that. And there's also probably my favorite feature about this whole paper, or rather bitaddress.org, is this split wallet. Now this is a really cool feature. Consider this, say a husband and wife want to have a shared bank account, but they want to make it so that the husband or the wife can't spend the funds alone. They have to be in agreement. Okay, so what we could do is we could say that we want to have two shares and we need two shares to combine. And so what we could do is generate a public address which we could send funds to. However, you would need to take this address and this address, which each person can hold in secret on their own. Okay, and it'll generate this combined private key where this key can spend the funds at this address. Pretty cool. So with that same kind of idea, we could generate something that needs 5 people together to spend the funds, and there's 10 shares. So here's 10 people that can hold 10 private keys. At least 5 of them together can spend it. So it's a very cool idea, very cool feature. And here it just goes into some details on how the keys are generated, which protocols are being used, etc. So that is bitaddress.org, okay? And so this is how you use it. That's how you use it. And so one last thing I want to cover after you've downloaded that is another service here called bitcoinpaperwallet.com. It actually uses the bitaddress.org generator as its main thing, and it generates these trifold really nice templates, addresses right here. They'll print them out and ship them to you, or you could just generate it and print it yourself in much the same way that the other address generator was. And this gives you some other great information, frequently asked questions, how to keep it safe, mostly everything I've covered here, but again, worth it to just check through. I'll leave these links in the description below. And let's see, is there anything else I want to cover? Software wallets. Okay, yeah, there's not much to say here. Software wallets are something that you would use for the ultimate level of convenience. It's something that exists both on computers and on mobile phones or whatever. By far the absolute least secure way that you can store your coins. I would say even less secure than on an exchange. If your system is in any way compromised, keyloggers, any sort of malware, viruses, anything that could even just take snapshots of your screen, even if your private keys are being encrypted, the software's doing everything right. If something's taking snapshots, when it shows you your seed keys, a screenshot is all it takes. There's no hacking needed. So a hardware wallet is something that you would use with extreme caution on a system that you are 100% sure that is not compromised or will never be compromised. Similarly, with a mobile phone wallet, you have the same issues where even with an Android and iPhone device, iOS device, you can go to malicious websites, and just from the website alone, it could root or access your device from a super user standpoint, where it can do even things beyond what you can do as a user on that device. So it has access to everything, including your data and everything, such that it could just write software to your device, like something that takes a screenshot. It's software that is probably very easy to implant. I don't know. It's extremely easy to write. I know that. So all it needs to do is take some screenshots and send that back home, and there you go. Your keys are vulnerable. However, they're the easiest way, and right now, probably the most popular way that people store their coins. What can I say? People are going to do it. So just take this as a word of caution. Use the other methods. Brain wallets, paper wallets, particularly hardware wallets are expensive, but they're worth it. So there's one exception before the end of this video on the software wallets. There is still a way to do cold storage, and it's going to be very similar to how we have this bitaddress.org here with the split wallet. Very similar, okay? And what it does is I'll leave a link in the description below. There's a particular wallet called the Armory wallet where again, you're going to need a little extra setup here. You're going to need a computer that is not connected to a network and never will be. You're going to need a completely offline computer, which will act as your private key holder. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to do a paper wallet or a hardware wallet, you'll still kind of need this extra computer that's never touched a network, nor can it ever touch a network. Not to sound, I don't want to be fear mongering, but just trust me on that. So what this unnetworked computer can do is it can generate the signatures essentially needed to spend funds. So what you would do is you would have another computer that is network connected that you would use as more frequently of a device, and that has a wallet that allows you to, receive funds to it, and also get through most of the steps to sending funds. However, you can't sign with this other wallet. You would then have to take the transaction that it generates and bring it to this offline computer for that to sign it, and then you could bring it back to the online computer to just to relay that to the network. That's extremely secure. It's very roundabout. So that's really the only way that I would ever suggest a software wallet. Aside from that, guys, that is wallets, and this is Decrypted Cash. Thanks for watching. Please leave comments what you like, didn't like in the description below, as well as like, dislike, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next videos where we're going to start covering some more in-depth on everything. I think probably the first video I'll do is on just, I guess, more or less maybe on the basics of how a blockchain works for someone who wants to just understand what's going on under the scenes. Later on, maybe a couple videos down the road, I'll go into a more advanced blockchain video, but I think that'll be the next video is on the basics of the blockchain. I'm Nick, it's Decrypted Cash. Thanks.